I'm very curious about the VII, which is something pretty unique, right?
Yeah. So I worked for Discover Records for many years, helped set the label up, and then left there and was working for and running Paul Oakenfold's infrastructure, managing Paul Oakenfold and running Perfecto Fluoro. And then I just got to the stage where I wanted to do my own thing rather than running labels for other people, where you're always having to do things, you know, to meet their approval. So I had this idea of doing a label which was 7 artists, and they were just my favourite producers from across the genre of trance, from Psy to acid trance to harder trance or tech trance, whatever you want to call it. And that was my vision, and I had this is what I wanted to do, and I pitched it to a couple of people to say, what do you think? And they thought it was a stupid idea, actually. And then the original lineup of 7, there were 3 other people who were not in 7, who I asked to be in 7, and they didn't end up in 7. But the lineup that we ended up with is for me is the one.
You guys have a slogan in Latin too.
Yes.
I wrote it down in Latin, but can I say it in English instead?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Add a little to a little, and there will be a great heap.
Yeah.
That was the translation I got. How do you look at the slogan?
Well, that is actually a proverb that came from a military background in Latin, and what it meant was that regional individual pockets of armies are all big, but when we come together with a fucking mega transformer that is, you know, unstoppable. So to me it seemed like an appropriate way to say that individually we're all doing our own thing, but together as a team we're for me the apex of what I like in trance, you know, because it's all about me. So no, I mean that's what it was always supposed to be. It was just supposed to be a label that was releasing the music of these 7 artists only, so that you never had to you know, search for demos or release music of artists that would only release one record and then disappear, or were not actively out there gigging or pushing on their social media or having a brand presence individually. So you know, I like to think that all the people in 7, their sounds are very unique to them as well. But yeah, it is all just the sounds that I like. So that's where it came from originally.
I have a question from one of the 7 guys, actually. He wanted me to ask you, when are you going to pay for his Vegas bill for a trolley of Coronas and Long Island iced teas?
Is this Sean Tyas?
It's actually not Sean, it's Will, actually.
Yeah. Will Atkinson. Well, look, I know that Will is unaccustomed to putting his hand in his pocket when it comes to paying for drinks, and that the feeling that he's exposed to is one that he's not used to, because finally he had to pay for something. But, you know, I just think he's just going to have to get used to it, you know, or perhaps he could, you know, cancel it out by thinking of all the times when I've picked up the bill.
I'll tell him that for sure. How hard are you on the guys? So how do you inspire them? Do those 2 go hand in hand, or how does that work?
So the way, from the label perspective, the way it works is that we have a release schedule that's worked out for the year. So everyone will know their deadlines of when they have to deliver music, and when they deliver music, which I'm on their case to do to make those deadlines, then normally I would say maybe 15% of the time the first thing delivered is perfect, and then the rest of the time is there might be 3 or 4 back and forwards just on minor things. But you know, I come from an A&R background, and that's what I do, and I want the sound of this label to be particular, and you know, we discuss it, and sometimes we argue, but you know, I never back down. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
What do you expect from the people that you work with closely like this?
Well, for everyone that I work with, not just the DJs I manage or the people in Seven or the other, you know, even in the other businesses that I have, I expect people to have the same kind of work ethic I have, to as close as they can. I mean, I do work very long hours every day, and I'm not expecting them to do that necessarily, but I do expect them to work very hard and be committed to the job and the tasks that are set out in front of them. Because if they don't do it, then we're not going to move forward. We're not going to succeed. We're not going to get the achievements that we want to get. And also, though, you know, as far as the people that work for me are concerned, the guys that work in my office, you know, if you work hard, then, you know, some days we'll go out to the pub at lunchtime and have a few beers, and then those few beers will turn into a 16-hour drinking session. So, you know, it's not always militant cracking the whip. But those things are rewards for hard work, and you know, if people aren't prepared to hard work, I don't like laziness. I don't like that, and that's something I'm trying to instill on my children at the moment. You know, good life values.
You guys did an all 7 stage at EDC Vegas, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
What was that like?
It was really good. It was, you know, it was a real honour to be asked to do it. It was a great first gig. I mean, for your first ever show to be hosting your own stage at the biggest electronic festival in America is a real honour. And it was great. It was fantastic. The two things that were, one was the heat. The heat was unbelievable. It was fucking 46 degrees at night, you know. It was unbelievable. And because we were in a tent, even with the open sides, it was very humid in there. But that's unavoidable because you're in the desert in Las Vegas. And then the other thing was, because I was so adamant that I wanted everything to run smoothly, I was kind of a little bit edgy through the night. Not edgy as in a pain in the arse, but, you know, I was running back and forward. Like, for example, we'd flown this cameraman over from England, and he was there to film it, and when we turned up, he only had credentials to be on stage filming one of our DJs. So, you know, there was a whole fucking palaver with that, trying to sort that out. But in the end, it all worked out. It was really good and it was successful. So yeah, I loved it. It was an honour and very grateful that it happened.
Do you have something like that planned for the future as well with the whole crew?
Yeah, we have our own. Oh shit! Can I say this? I mean, I know
you can. It's okay. You can say it.
It's been partially announced, but yeah, we have our own stage at Tomorrowland this year. Oh, cool. So we have a stage at Tomorrowland. And we're definitely doing a show in Melbourne, Australia. And then there are 2 or 3 other things that we're discussing, but they're not really at a stage where I could say anything. And I'm working on a 7 mix compilation as well, which will be 4 CDs, 1 mixed by Simon Patterson, 1 by Sean Tyas, me, Will Atkinson. And for that, I'm working on quite a few reworks, which will be available in full length as part of the album. So
that's going to be a physical release as well.
Yeah, it'll be a 4 CD physical package, but also a digital, you know, and Spotify streaming. So it'll be available on every platform, but it'll be a beautiful 4 CD package, yeah.